Year 9 Season 3.3 is here in Rainbow Six Siege, and it is bringing us quite a few very strong buffs. Despite some of them seeming quite simple on paper, they are quite substantial, and I think this is one of the best patches we've ever had. So we're going to jump straight into looking into everything which came in this patch, so make sure you drop a like on this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get into this. Now I'm going to first start off with the change which came to Zofia. Although this one does seem quite simple, it's quite substantial, and possibly one of my favourite buffs we've gotten in a long time. So very simply, Zofia has lost her breaching charge. However, in return, she has received the hard breach charge. Now, for a lot of people, that might just be a basic update. They don't care about it. Simply just a secondary gadget change. But trust me when I say this is massive. Now, the first thing that comes to mind is her capability of not only clearing the wall, but breaching it. If there are bandit charges or a mute jammer or even an electric claw on the wall, Zofia can go below with her launcher, clear the wall of utility, and then go on to breach it herself. She can even use her concussion nades to stop a bandit trick, since bandit gets kicked out of the animation when he is stunned. That alone is a very strong thing for Zofia to be able to do now. She can open up hatches herself, but not only does this buff her, it also makes her a great solo operator. However, there is something even more significant, I think, which has came with the Zofia buff, which not many people have thought about or noticed, and that is the fact that if there is a hatch on a soft floor, Zofia can now solo open this hatch if it's electrified. Take this example on the hatch in kitchen and clubhouse. You'll most likely always see this hatch electrified. Well, now with Zofia, you can actually shoot your impact grenade into the floor, and this will destroy the electric claw which is on the hatch. You can then go on to open this hatch by yourself using your secondary hard breach charge. This now makes Zofia a very viable operator when it comes to opening hatches. Now, like I was saying, if there was a hard floor around a hatch, let's say on the same map on Moto, she is going to struggle and you're going to have to bring EMPs or find a way from clearing it from below. However, in situations where there is a soft floor any side of the hatch, Zofia is going to absolutely shine at clearing the utility of it and being able to open it up. This is just one example on one map. There's probably so many more, and let me know if you can think of or if you find any more, because Zofia going forward is going to be absolutely insane, and this simple buff has done so much for her. I love this. Right, we're going to jump over to the changes coming to Sam Fisher, aka Zero, because this one is also insane. Now, if you saw the patch note video, you know that he now has 6 Argus cameras up from 4. If we also add the 2 default cameras he has in his pocket, Zero has a total of 8 cameras for him to deploy on the map. You also have to remember as well that his Argus cameras can shoot a laser zap, just like a Twitch drone. So you can use this to clear many of the default cameras inside the building, or have a lot of opportunities to clear wall denial. There's a lot of stuff you can do here. But just look at this background gameplay of me walking around Chalet, and just look how many cameras I have set up for my team to watch. He is going to be insane for flank watch especially, and also keep in mind in this clip, I've only used the Argus cameras. I still have 2 drones in my pocket on top of this. Zero is now an absolute powerhouse when it comes to being an intel king, and if you have a Zero on your team and one of your teammates are getting flanked, someone's doing their job wrong, because you have so many opportunities to place cameras across the entirety of the map. This is to not mention as well that Zero also still brings a hard breach charge and a Gone 6. There's so many ways which Zero can be played now. He brings so much utility, and I also saw something as well that his cameras can even be quite useful for burning ADSs and Wamai's discs, because it catches them, and since you have so many, you can use that to burn and then go on to flash or use a Ying or an 8. Zero is going to be insane, and I expect to see pro players using him a lot, especially as well as high ranks. Let's get into this stuff for Callie. So the first bit here is that she simply now has smoke grenade. Not really much to talk about here. It's not as blatantly powerful as Zofia getting hard breach charges. If you do a lot of coordinations and strats which have smoke grenades and you play Callie, she can bring them now. I can't really think of anything immense that she's going to help with other than just providing cover, which anyone else does with smoke grenades, but it's good to have the option because it hasn't replaced anything else in her kit. So yeah, smoke grenades. But another thing which they've done to Callie is that you can see the bullet trajectory of her sniper is significantly smaller and disappears faster. This is just to make it harder for the defenders to track where that Callie's shot came from. You can still do it, there's still a visible shot coming out of the gun now, but it's just to make it a bit harder. And honestly, seeing this new version is night and day, and I think I definitely prefer this than it used to be, because it's just going to allow Callie to be a bit more safe rather than always exposing her position when she takes a shot, because it's very obvious where Callie is when she takes a shot. That was originally done for balancing purposes, but Callie is not an oppressive operator, so I think it's fair that they have toned that down with the latest patch. Mozzie now has impact grenades, and he also has 4 pests, up from 3. So Mozzie now being in a position to not only destroy utility with his impact grenade, but also make rotations. Of course, he used to actually be quite a prominent rotation maker back when he first came out, because he had the super shorty in his secondary pocket. He was actually the operator alongside Gridlock who introduced the super shorty to the game, but he went on to lose it a few years later. But the extra pest is also nice as well. When we read the patch notes, Ubisoft said it's so you can have a bit more freedom with him. People typically place all 3 in the prep phase, and then when you go on a roam, for example, or later in the match, you don't actually have one left to shoot a drone with. Well, they gave him 1 more extra just to be a bit more flexible, so you can still place 3 in the prep phase and maybe keep 1 in your pocket for later in the match. I really like how in this patch, and specifically with this one for Mozzie, they are trying to focus on what makes these operators great and focus on their gadget at heart. It's a good change, and we'll have to see how it goes. Jackal's one is quite simple, but it nonetheless improves him, and that is the fact that there is no longer a distortion effect on his goggles, or his visor shall we call it, when he is being shot or hit. Previously, when Jackal was being hit, whether that be by bullets or even an evil eye, it would cause a distortion effect on his visor, and it would sort of mess up his capability of tracking footprints. Well, they have just completely removed this, and he can use his visor as normal while still being shot. They said that this was more of a quality of life change rather than a buff. Although it is a buff, I get where they're coming from, but it's quite interesting that Jackal has received an improvement, since so many people do see him as overpowered and still being one of the most banned attackers in Siege. That being said, this is going to remove a lot of the frustration when you play him, because the distortion effect was definitely something that was quite prominent and happened a lot. The next change is for Iana. This one's pretty simple, but her hologram cooldown is now 20 seconds instead of 30 after it gets destroyed. As you can see, I'll do a little time lapse here. You're probably not going to notice a major difference, although it is 10 seconds faster, but basically when the hologram is destroyed by the enemy, you get it back 10 seconds faster. Not really much to say here. It's an improvement on what it is before, but it doesn't massively change Iana, and she's still kind of going to be in the same position as she was. But a buff nonetheless, and I can't complain. And although that is everything major, this video is titled everything, so I will go through all the bug fixes because hey ho. So they fixed a UI element that lets a team know they're moving into the lower bracket of Siege Cup. It says unknown. They fixed that. A player watching a match is unable to access text chat. They fixed that. The Siege Cup banner says waiting for others to join despite being paired against an enemy team. The caster card placement differs when spectating certain custom game presets. Devices briefly reactivate when picked up despite being affected by an EMP. Missing timer text present in the AAR screen. The more info section of the Siege Cup has incorrect information about the registration requirements. Some Siege Cup players' games do not start, and those players remain with the ribbon stating next match in starting soon. There is a bug fix for Scopos, and it says Scopos' idle V10 Pantheon shell spawns without a shield on the second floor executive office on the map plane. And there's 2 user experience bug fixes, and it's the redeem button is missing from the Bravo collection with a Bravo pack ticket, and the marketplace is missing the thumbnail for the Crushing Cane skin from Monty's Le Roch shield. And so everyone, that is everything which came in Year 9 Season 3.3 of Rainbow Six Siege. This might be one of my favorite patch notes in a very long time, and I thought they'd done quite a good job with it. But be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about which part of this patch is your favorite. Mine's probably Zofia or Zero. I think they're both great. Have an incredible rest of your day. I'll catch you later. Peace.